Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Myself, Dr. Sanjay Gauri, Head and Assistant Professor in Department of Physics, Dr. Ambedkar College, Chandrapur. Today, I am going to talk on the topic applications of Newton's rings. So, today's my presentation includes the introduction of the Newton's rings, then the applications of the Newton's rings. There are the two applications of the Newton's rings. One is for the determination of wavelength lambda of monochromatic light, and second application is of the determination of refractive index mu of the transparent liquid. Then I will discuss about what will happen to the Newton's rings if the monochromatic light is replaced by white light, and lastly I will discuss some short questions which has been asked in the examination. So this is about all my today's presentation. So first of all, we see the introduction of the Newton's rings, and that introduction we have seen in the last period. So when a plano-convex lens with its convex surface is placed on a plain glass plate, an air film of gradually increasing thickness is formed between the lens and the glass plate. So here L is the plano-convex lens. One surface of the plano-convex lens is the plane, and another surface is the convex. And it is placed on the plain glass plate G, and O is the point of contact. So if we move from O outward, then the thickness of the air film goes on increasing. And at the point of contact, thickness of the film, air film is 0. So here there is a thin film of increasing thickness. Now, if the monochromatic light is allowed to fall normally on this air film, and the film is viewed by reflected light, then the alternate bright and dark concentric rings are seen around the point of contact, and these rings were first discovered by Sir Isaac Newton, and hence the name they named as the Newton's ring. The point of contact is black by when these Newton's rings are viewed by the reflected light, and this point of contact is bright when it is viewed by the transmitted light. So this sentence is very important from the examination point of view. So many times this question may be asked on this. If the Newton's rings are viewed with a white light, and we know that white light is a colored light. White light consists of 7 colors: R, O, Y, G, B, I, V. So these are the different colors present in the white light. Then the Newton's rings, colored Newton's rings are formed. 7 colored Newton's rings are formed. And the innermost ring is the violet color ring, and outermost ring is the red color ring, because this violet color is having the smallest wavelength, and the red color has the highest wavelength. That is, the wavelength of the red color, violet color is about the 4000 angstrom unit, and the wavelength of the red color is about the 6000 angstrom unit. And therefore, the inner ring, inner color ring is the violet color ring, and outermost color ring is the red color ring. So that we have seen yesterday, and then we have obtained the expression for the diameter of the Newton's ring given by dn is equal to, n stands for the nth diameter of the nth ring. Dn is equal to under root of 2 into 2n minus 1 into lambda r. where n is equal to 1, 2, 3 and so on for first, second, third and so on bright rings. We have also seen the expression for the diameter of the dark Newton rings, and it is given by dn dash. We have used a different symbol for the diameter of the dark ring. So, the diameter of the nth dark ring is equal to dn dash is equal to 2 into under root of n lambda r, where n is equal to 0, dn dash is equal to 0. This corresponds to the center of dark ring. And the center of this dark ring is observed to be black by reflect when it is viewed by reflected light, and this center spot is the bright spot when viewed by the transmitted light. So this is about the introduction of the Newton's ring. Then there are the two applications of the Newton's ring. First application of the Newton's ring is that the determination of wavelength lambda of monochromatic light. So with the help of this Newton's ring, we can determine the wavelength of monochromatic light. And the second application of the Newton's ring is that the determination of the refractive index mu of a transparent liquid. So these are the two applications of the Newton's ring, and these two applications are very important from the examination point of view. So many times the question has been asked on these applications of the Newton's ring, or the problem may also be asked based upon these two applications. So first application we see, that is the determination of wavelength lambda of monochromatic light. We have seen previously the experimental arrangement for obtaining the Newton's ring, and you will also study these Newton's ring in the laboratory. In the laboratory, you have to perform this experiment, determination of wavelength lambda of monochromatic light by using the Newton's ring. Okay, so we will perform this experiment if offline classes will start. Okay, let dn, what is dn? dn be the diameter of nth bright ring, and dn plus p be the diameter of n plus pth bright ring, where p is an integer, 2, 4, 6 and so on. So generally here we take in the experiment as p is equal to 10. The square of the diameters of the bright rings are, so we will obtain the square of this diameter. So we get here dn square. So we will obtain the square of the diameter. So dn square, it is equal to 2 into 2n minus 1 into lambda r. And similarly, if n is replaced by n plus p, then we get dn plus p square, it is equal to 2 into 2n plus 2p minus 1 into lambda r. Then on the substitution we have dn plus p square minus dn square, it is equal to, here you can see the first term 2 into 2n into lambda r. This first term is the same, and therefore it gets cancelled in this subtraction, and we get only the term 4p lambda r. And from this equation, lambda is equal to dn plus p minus dn square upon 4p r. And this is nothing but the expression for determination of wavelength of monochromatic light. Here you must remember that n plus p, these are the suffix of the d, and n is also the suffix of the d. suffix समझता है ना? So it has to be written somewhat low on the lower side. And here R is the radius of curvature of the plano-convex lens. We have seen the plano-convex lens. One surface of the plano-convex lens is the plane and another surface is the convex. So that convex surface has the radius of curvature R. This is the equation number 1. So this equation we have written by starting the diameter of the bright rings. You may also calculate this wavelength of monochromatic light by using the diameter of the dark ring also. I have taken here the square of the diameter of the bright ring. You can also take the square of the diameter of the dark ring. It gives the same result. So previously we have seen the experimental arrangement for obtaining the Newton's ring. With the help of that experimental arrangement, we will obtain the Newton's ring in the field of view of the microscope. Where we are getting the Newton's ring? We are observing the Newton's ring with the help of the microscope. And we focus the microscope, eyepiece of the microscope to obtain the distance Newton's ring in the field of view of the microscope. The microscope is moved horizontally. So what will happen when the Newton's rings are observed? We get the concentric circular ring. So we go on counting to the left hand side of this Newton's ring, then point of the contact of the Newton's ring, and we will measure the reading of the cross wire of microscope is made tangential to the nth bright ring. For example, suppose 20th bright. What we do? We will make the cross wire of the microscope made tangential to the 20th bright ring on the left hand side. The reading of the microscope is noted. Then now move the microscope gradually till to the right hand side, and its reading is noted keeping cross wire tangential on the consecutive ring. Means we will take the reading at the 20th bright ring when the cross wire is tangential to the 20th bright ring. Then we will take the reading at the 18th bright ring. Then we will take the reading at the 16th bright ring. Then we will take the reading at the 14th bright ring, and so on up to the point of contact. And then on the right side, we will again start moving from, we will make the cross wire tangential to the second bright ring, then fourth bright ring, 6, and so on up to the 20th bright ring. So we will take the readings at the different points on the Newton's ring. Now the difference in the readings of the left hand side and right hand side will give the diameter of the bright ring. Suppose a reading of the 20th bright ring on the left hand side and reading of the 20th bright ring on the right hand side. If we take the difference between the two, then we get the diameter of the 20th ring. So the reading of the 18th bright ring on the left hand side and reading of the 18th bright ring on the right hand side, if we take the difference between the two, then it will give us the diameter of the 18th bright ring. So in this fashion, we will obtain the diameter of the 16th bright ring, diameter of the 14th bright ring, and so on up to the diameter of the second bright ring. And if we plot a graph between the square of the diameter of the different rings and the number of rings n, which is a straight line as shown in the figure. So we will take the diameter. We will obtain the diameter of the different ring, and we will take this graph. We will obtain the graph between the diameter of the square of the diameter of the ring and the number of rings. Then we get a graph which is as shown in the figure. So here along the y-axis we will take the square of the diameter, and along the x-axis we will take the number of rings. So we get here the graph between the d square and n as a straight line, and we will obtain the slope of this straight line. And the slope of this straight line, we will take the 2 points on the straight line. Suppose this is the 1 point. We will take the 2 points on the graph, and the first point is this point, is suppose this point, and the second point is this point. Okay, so what we do, we will draw the perpendicular from these 2 points on the x-axis and on the y-axis. So what we get here, we get the n, here we get the n, and here we get the n plus p. Here p will be the suppose the tail. P will be the tail. Then I will obtain the perpendicular from these 2 points, on the d square axis. So we get dn plus p square and dn square. So if we obtain the slope of this slope, what is the slope? This is nothing but x1 point. This is the x1 point, and this is the x2 point. This is the y1 point. This is the y2 point, and this is the y1 point. So if we take the y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1, that will be nothing but the slope of the straight line. So that is the dn plus p whole square minus dn square upon p, and this is nothing but the slope of the straight line. Okay. Now the same equation we can write in the different manner. Equation number 1 can be written as the lambda is equal to slope. What is there? This dn plus p square minus dn square upon p. This is nothing but slope of the straight line. So we will substitute this value of the slope. Slope divided by what is the remaining in the equation number 1 as 4r. So slope upon 4r, this will give us the wavelength of monochromatic light. Now what is required? What should be measured first? So r is the radius of curvature of the plano-convex lens. Okay, so radius of plano-convex lens is measured with the help of the spirometer. So we can measure the radius of curvature of the plano-convex lens by the spirometer, and therefore the wavelength of monochromatic light can be determined by using the equation number 2. So to measure the wavelength of monochromatic light, we must require the radius of curvature of the plano-convex lens only, and therefore by using the equation number 2 we can determine the wavelength of monochromatic light. So this is about the determination of wavelength of monochromatic light by using the Newton's rings. So this is the one application. So here one thing is there, we can determine the wavelength of monochromatic light. Why? What is the monochromatic? Monochromatic means the single wavelength. The light must have a single wavelength. And here in the Newton's ring experiment, we will use the monochromatic light as a sodium source of light. Sodium light as a monochromatic source of light. Actually, there are the two wavelengths in the sodium lamp. One wavelength is the 5890 angstrom unit, and another wavelength is there which is the 5896 6. Difference between the two wavelength is the only the 6 angstrom unit, and since the difference is very small, we can consider this sodium lamp as a monochromatic light. And if we use the white light, then you will get the color rings, and 7 color rings are obtained, and after that we will get the uh, uniform illumination. Now we will see the second application of the Newton's ring, and that second application is the determination of the refractive index of a transparent liquid. Now again, what we have done in the previous case, the same is to be done in this case also. Let dn and dn plus p be the diameter of the nth and n plus pth bright ring respectively, formed in air film between the curved surface of the lens and the plane glass plate. Here this is the air film. Suppose air film is formed between the convex surface of the plano-convex lens and the plane glass plate, and Newton's rings are formed in the air film, and we will obtain the diameter of the different Newton's rings formed in the air film. Now what we do then, we will introduce the small amount of transparent liquid of refractive index mu in between the convex surface of the plano-convex lens and the plane glass plate. So this is the plane glass plate, and this is the convex surface of the plano-convex lens, and here there is the air film. So this, now what we do, we will replace the air film by the transparent liquid of refractive index mu. Let dn dash and dn plus p dash square be the diameter of the nth and n plus pth bright. जैसे अपने पहले diameters निकाले dn and dn plus p, similarly we will obtain the another diameter. We will obtain the diameters, but when the transparent liquid is introduced in between the curved surface of the plano-convex lens and the plane glass plate, then squaring the diameters, we get dn plus p plus p dash square minus dn dash square, it is equal to. So we get here the diameter when difference in the diameter when the transparent liquid is introduced. So that diameter will be the, here in the previous case for the air film, the diameter is difference of the diameter, square of the diameter is the 4p lambda r. But when we introduce the liquid, transparent liquid, then the diameters get reduced. Diameter of the Newton's ring get reduced by a factor of refractive index. So the difference in the diameter, square of the diameter, is equal to the 4p lambda r upon the mu. Whatever be the expression is there, this expression is to be divided by the refractive index mu of the transparent liquid. So here we have obtained the difference in the square of the diameters, and here we have obtained the difference in the square of the diameters for the air film and the transparent liquid. Then dividing this equation 1 and 2, we get mu is equal to dn plus p square minus dn square upon dn plus p dash square minus dn dash square. So we have obtained the Newton's ring. We have seen the experimental arrangement for obtaining the Newton's ring. With the help of that, we will obtain the diameter of the Newton's rings for the air film as well as the transparent liquid, transparent thin film. Now, a small quantity of transparent liquid is introduced between the curved surface of the lens and the plane glass plate. Then the diameter of the different ring found to decrease. This is very important. The question may be asked on this. Objective type question may be asked on this. When a small quantity of transparent liquid is introduced in between the curved surface of the lens and the plane glass plate, then the diameter of the different rings get reduced. We again measure the diameter of the different rings and a graph is plotted between the square of the diameter d square of the different rings and the number of rings n, which is a straight line as shown in the figure. So for the air film we get a one straight line. For air film we get a one straight line, and this line is the upper line, and for the transparent liquid we get the another straight line. Okay, so these two straight lines are there, and if we take the any 2 points on this straight line, suppose this is the these are the P and Q are the 2 points on the straight line, then we will draw the perpendicular from these 2 points. And then the R and S is the intersection of these two straight lines. Okay, so we'll obtain the difference between the square of the diameters. So dn plus p square minus dn square is nothing but this difference in the diameter is nothing but the QB minus PA. And for the liquid film, dn plus p square minus dn square, it is equal to SB minus RA. This SB, this is the point S and this is the point R, and SB minus RA, so that will give the difference in the diameter. And thus by using this equation number 3 we can determine the refractive index mu of the transparent liquid. So what we required for the determination of refractive index of a transparent liquid, we have to take the difference between the square of the diameters. Okay, and we have to plot the graph between the square of the diameters, and with the help of this graph we can determine the refractive index of the transparent liquid. So this is about the second application of the Newton's ring, that is for the determination of refractive index mu of a transparent liquid. Here in both cases, in the determination of refractive index of the determination of wavelength of monochromatic light and determination of refractive index of a transparent liquid, we use the monochromatic source of light. We use only the monochromatic source of light. So next point that we see is what will happen to the Newton's rings if monochromatic light is replaced by the white. What we are doing here, monochromatic light or sodium light is replaced by the white light. And we know that white light consists of 7 colors, ROY, GB, IV. These are the 7 colors present in the white light. If monochromatic light is replaced by the white light in Newton's ring experiment, a 7 colored rings around a black center are observed, and beyond it, beyond the 7 colors, we get the uniform illumination. And this is because the diameter of the ring is directly proportional to the square root of the wavelength. So dn is directly proportional to the square root of wavelength. And white light is composed of 7 colors. So diameter of the different color rings will be obtained. Diameter of the different color rings will be the different. In coloring pattern, in color ring pattern, the violet color will be innermost. I have told you previously. Violet color is the innermost color, and a red ring will be the outermost, because of the largest wavelength of the red color, and the violet color is having the smallest wavelength among all the 7 colors, and therefore it will be the innermost. And beyond this 7 red color ring, there is the overlapping of different colors, and this overlapping of different color will use the uniform illumination. Only the 7 color rings are visible, and beyond that there will be the uniform illumination. So this is the answer of the questions that has been asked so many times. What will happen to the Newton's rings if monochromatic light is replaced by the white light? So what will happen then? A different color, 7 color rings will be observed when monochromatic light is replaced by the white light. Then we will see some questions which can be asked based on this Newton's rings. So what will happen to the Newton's rings if plain glass plate is replaced by the plain mirror? So if plain glass plate is replaced by the plain mirror in Newton's ring experiment, the rings on the reflected system would disappear and uniform illumination is observed. It is because there would be no transmission of rays, but transmitted rays will be reflected reflected at the silvered surface, and two complementary systems of rings superimpose on each other and will give the uniform illumination. So what is there in the experimental arrangement of the Newton's ring? There is a plain glass plate which is kept inclined at an angle of 45 degrees to the vertical. When a monochromatic light is allowed to fall on that, then it will be reflected in the downward direction. So if the plain glass plate is replaced by the mirror, then what will happen? All the rays are reflected in the downward direction. There will not be the transmission of the rays of light, transmitted rays of light in the upward direction. So there will not, all these rays are reflected in the downward direction, and therefore we cannot able to observe the Newton's rings because of the silvering of the one surface, silvering of the plain glass. Now, this is my second question. What will happen to the Newton's rings if a lens of small radii of curvature is used? What we will do? We will use the small radii of curvature is used. Radius of curvature of the planar convex lens is small, suppose. Then the diameter of the bright rings or dark rings are directly proportional to the square root of the radius of curvature, that is dn is proportional to the under root of capital R. It depends upon the capital R. As the radius of curvature R of the lens decreases, the diameter of the rings decreases, and hence the spacing between the Newton's rings decreases. So this is the effect of the radius of curvature on the diameter of the Newton's ring. So when the radius of curvature increases, the diameter of the Newton's ring also increases, or when the radius of curvature decreases, the diameter of the Newton's ring get decreased. Now, then we will see the another question: why the center of Newton's rings appear dark or black in the reflected light? So, in this case, the Newton's rings, in the case of the Newton's ring, the effective path difference between the interfering rays is given by. We have seen this expression for the effective path difference between the interfering rays is 2 mu t cos of r. What is the expression for the effective path difference? The expression for the effective path difference is the 2 mu t cos of r plus lambda by 2. Here, this is the expression. Now, what is mu? Here in this expression, mu is the refractive index of the film. T is the thickness of the film. Cos r is the angle of refraction, and lambda is the wavelength of light. At the point of contact, at the center of the contact, the thickness T is equal to 0. So, hence, the effective path difference between the interfering rays is lambda by 2. What will be the effective path difference? Effective path difference will be the lambda by 2 because T is equal to 0 and T is equal to 0. So 2 mu into cos of r, that will be 0, and we get only the path difference between the two interfering rays as lambda by 2. And this is the condition for the minimum or dark ring. This is the condition for the minimum intensity of light, or this is the condition for the dark ring, and hence the central spot of the ring system appears dark. Central spot will appear as a black or dark. So why the Newton's rings are circular? So that is another question that can be asked. We know that the shape of the interference ring is locus of all the points for which the thickness is the same. The path difference between the interfering rays depends upon the thickness of the film. And since the thickness of the air film is same for each point on the circumference of the circle, the point of contact is O of the lens and the glass plate. And hence, the Newton's rings are concentric circular rings. Thickness is the same in all directions, and therefore the concentric circular rings are obtained in the interference field. Okay, so this is about my today's presentation. This is all about my today's presentation. Stay home, stay safe.